All right, everybody, welcome back. Sam's Army match week number 4. We got a lot to talk about. We're going to start with the Premier League, where we hit the Manchester Derby postmortem, plus some possible red flags for one of the red teams. Halftime will be an MLS-related pop quiz in lieu of Weekly What If. Round the World will be an MLS Minute, plus a preview of this week's Champions League group stage opening games. And then stoppage time with Ivan Toney's best bets and everyone's favorite segment, GOAWs. Now, time to welcome in this week's panel of beauties. And we have a collective introductory question. So same question for each of you. We'll start with Mr. Mikey Fowler. What was your least favorite, class in school?
Definitely science. Math makes sense to me. I could not tell you how anything works or why or the force behind it or anything that way. So science does not make sense for my brain, and I couldn't fucking stand it.
Okay, fair. If I was going to guess one, I probably would have said that. I figured your humanities, you'd probably be decent at that. I didn't know about your math, but yeah, science would have been my guess. Okay, I'm glad I'm on your level here. Mitchell Goulet, a.k.a. Overtime Mitch, least favorite class in school?
Math, for the same reasons. It just doesn't process for me. They started throwing numbers and shit in there. It is the only class I've failed multiple times. I am not a mathlete. I excelled in English and was okay at science, but math just doesn't make sense to me.
Okay. I'm with you. I would have said math if I had gotten this question. Numbers, I don't know. Tyler Terrence, everybody knows, the voice of MLS around here. Least favorite, you're on mute, by the way. Least favorite class in school?
So it was art. Like it for the first 10, 15 years of my life, I'd literally be in art class as like a 7-year-old. And my art teacher would be like, "Come on, Tyler, put some effort in." And they would say, try to draw a person, and it would look like a dinosaur. And I'd be like, "This is me trying. I don't know what to tell you." But then it became math. I used to be really good at math, and then once they started to throw parabolas and all that stuff into the mix, it was lights out. So yeah,
it's a good point. Now, Brian in the chat, by the way, he said a lot of science is math, and I think you're probably right about that, especially when you're doing physics and chemistry, equations and all that stuff. But science, in my mind, it's just, and of course, we're saying science could be biology, all these other different types, flavors of science. When you start getting into all the equations and the math of science, I didn't like that at all. But the other side of science, how things work, the human body and all that stuff, I loved that. So that was my jam. And by the way, be like Brian, get in the Discord chat, get in the live chat for our, live tapings of the episodes right now by getting in the Sam's Army Patreon, $3.99 a month. Go to patreon.com/Sam's Army and get in it right now. You get Open Mikey on Thursdays. You get Tyler might start some MLS bonus episodes. We're going to do interviews, or we always do interviews. Just a lot of stuff to do there. So get in the Sam's Army Patreon and get access to all this stuff, including the best part, which is the Discord community. All right. Premier League time. So some interesting results for the week. I will throw out some of them, and then we can dig in on whichever ones you guys want. So the highest profile game was Manchester City 3, Manchester United 0 in the Manchester Derby. Another 3-0 win would be Arsenal handing it to Forest on Big Ange's first test as Nottingham Forest manager. Burnley almost holding Liverpool 0-1. That game finished. Brentford 2-2 with Chelsea, and Everton 0-0 with Aston Villa. Those are just some of the games. Obviously, there's others out there. We'll go with Mikey. Let's start with you. What game did you find, or what result did you find most notable, and why?
I said the Chelsea fixture last week when we did this because about this upcoming weekend, because I did feel like it was going to tell me a lot about their title chances. I think they could probably justify getting out of there with a healthy Cole Palmer as a tactical win. But I was a little bit disappointed in that result for Chelsea and their, ambition as a club. I'm going to give you an answer. That's not going to surprise anybody, but for me, it was Man City's dismantling of Man United, not for what it tells me about City, but I'm actually finally ready to start to talk about the fact that Amorim can't be there anymore, and it's over. And I think it's going to happen really soon. So I think that result wasn't surprising by any way, but I think it's going to. I think it's the straw that broke the camel's back, and it'll be the most significant of the weekend because the Man United manager is going to be capped for it. So that's my thought, at least.
Okay. Now, you did suggest going into this game that you saw a big result for Manchester United. Did it feel like you were vindicated, or did it feel a little closer than you sort of were expecting?
It was child's play. It wasn't. It could have been 5 or 6 if they really felt like they had to prove something, but they didn't. So I wasn't surprised. There's a goal from class.
I could have used another one. The Erling Haaland, when he had the whole goal to shoot at, just tip it in with his toe from 6 inches out, and he somehow missed. Yeah, that one actually hurt me in the old pocketbook. But whatever, we move on. Tyler, any thoughts on the Manchester derby, or if you want to move on, you can do so.
I'm right there with Mikey. I've been banging on that drum for a lot longer, and I feel like now we're in a really interesting spot because he demanded these purchases, cried about not having the right players to fit his system, and his system sucks, and he sucks, and the whole thing is in shambles. And I think that they would love for him to quit. He's not going to quit, so he can get paid out. And I feel like they're almost punishing him to leave him in the. So now it's just a matter of chicken. How bad is Manchester United willing to look in order to either see if this is potentially going to turn around, or just simply cut him loose, pay him whatever, or wait for Amorim to quit before his reputation becomes so damaged that he'll never get a job in the Premier League again. So all of those things taken into consideration. Liverpool making history, becoming the first ever team to score game-winning goal past the 83rd minute in 4 consecutive games, let alone the first 4 games to start the season. And yeah, I don't know. I didn't watch a ton just because I was flying back and forth from San Jose, so it took up most of my day on Sunday. But yeah, good day to be a Red. Always is.
Well, so my thought on that Liverpool game was, I mean, yes, there's the obvious, 4 straight. Well, I didn't know it was 4 straight. I knew that there were 4 games that you guys have won with goals in the, I think, 83rd minute or later already this season with Arsenal, Newcastle, Burnley, and whoever the 4th one is that I'm blanking on right now. But the Bournemouth, by the way. So my thought there is that, yes, you guys keep winning, but you don't look good. Like, you don't look good.
It doesn't matter. I'm sick of this argument from everybody and just being like, oh, well, there should be alarm bells going off. You go change your team and throw in 5 starters, okay? Isak hasn't even played yet, okay? And Frimpong gets hurt after week 1. Kirkes clearly needs a little bit of time. Andy Robertson stepped in and did a great job, despite the fact that he probably didn't think he was going to come on until at least the 60th minute. And we still have won 4 out of 4 games. I'm so sick of that argument because the continuity that was there from 2 years ago in Klopp's last year to Arne Slot, and then everybody was blown away about the fact that Arne Slot was able to tweak the system just a little bit, but basically with the same exact group of players. It's like, no, that was the same group of players, and they clearly knew how to play with each other. This is completely different, and we're still winning. Most other teams in the Premier League, if not every other team in the Premier League, would probably be dropping points, but for whatever reason, Liverpool have been able to pull a horseshoe out of their ass, not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 times. And they're doing it while they're still waiting for the best striker on the market to come in. And Florian Wirtz has not been very good. And you're still winning games. So, like, I'm done with this whole argument of, like, well, we haven't looked good, we should be concerned. I'm not concerned about anything. Nothing concerns me.
Not even the fact that Julian Wirtz looks like Julian Ass?
Give it time, bro. You, like, as much as he's clearly not at his best right now, you can still tell that he's the most gifted player on the field.
Sam, he's leading the league in sprints above the ball carrier. Didn't you know that?
Oh,
I saw they're like inventing stats like to anoint him as a great signing so far. Listen, I'm just kidding about saying he's like a bad player. I'm not saying he's a bad player. He has not looked,
of course not,
at all. Which some
Thank
of
you,
us said that
Brian.
it might take a little time to acclimate.
Brian in the chat. Winners find a way. Unfortunately, Liverpool are winners. I've been saying this for years. None of you want to
Adam
listen.
F in the chat says that streak ends this weekend. Merseyside Derby coming up. And unfortunately, I agree with him. I do think that streak ends this weekend. I think they'll find the winning goal much earlier than the 83rd minute.
Well, to be fair to Adam F and to the Toffees, we always struggle with Everton.
It's a tough place.
It'll probably be a draw, but yes.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
I mean, it's at Anfield, I believe. But yeah, I mean, listen, Everton's a tough team to play against. So, the fact that you guys have struggled but won, I think that game would be interesting. I think it's at the Buck Crack.
I would love a convincing performance. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to keep doing this every week. I would love to see us blow the doors off of someone. Hopefully it's Everton, but until there's something to be worried about, I'm not going to be worried. We've got 12 points from 12.
All right. Arsenal. So 3-0 over Forest. I'm not sure this really says all that much about Forest. Mitch, what was your takeaway from the game, especially Ange and Forest?
I did think that we were going to handle Forest in this fixture, and we looked so good. We looked so sharp. Zubimendi, apart from the 2 goals, which were both unbelievable. I don't know how the tallest or the shortest guy on the pitch is towering for a headed goal, but we love it. He looked great. I think everybody looked so comfortable. Madueke looked unbelievable. Eze was actually taking players on, which is not something we're used to at that position. Folks are just fitting in. The vibe feels great. And that one felt deserved. That one felt like a solid 3-0 win. Gyökeres, lucky to get on, not lucky, but fortunate to get on the score sheet. I don't think overall his performance was great, but I think that's where, if your striker's not playing great but scoring once a game, I'm not saying shit. And Madueke, at the beginning of this season, hey, can we not with the squeak toy? At the beginning of this season, he was kind of falling under scrutiny. People being like, "Oh, Madueke is your most exciting signing," and it's yeah, man. Have you seen him? He looks comfortable. He looks like he wants to be here. He celebrated every goal as if he played academy for us. I really liked.
Somebody believes in him. Somebody believes in him.
Yeah. I really liked what I saw.
Also, Steve in the chat just said Madueke had a great game. I was going to throw it to you, Tyler, since you were one of the critics, I would say, of the Madueke signing. Any thoughts on whether you're eating crow on that a little bit?
Did he have a goal contribution?
No.
Nope.
Okay. No, I knew the answer to that question. I just wanted to hear Mitch say it out loud, or Mikey for that matter. But yeah, no.
He's been great.
He has been good. I was more so. It was A, the price tag for me, and it was B, it was Chelsea's sloppy seconds. But Chelsea's sloppy seconds is just sort of entry point B of the world market. It's just after Chelsea buy them, then you can get into the market that way and maybe pay a premium because Chelsea already got their hands on them.
Okay. Now thoughts on Ange and the job he's got ahead.
Can we go back to Gyökeres for a second? Can we go back to Gyökeres for a second?
Sure.
He is so painfully slow.
He's
I don't agree with that.
What?
He's
Michael.
lumbering. I don't know if he's slow.
He's slow.
He's not quick.
He's slow. He lumbers. I think that's a good way to say it.
He's a big fella.
He's a big boy. He's carrying a lot of Swedish weight. Yeah. He's a big boy.
He was never really his thing. Right?
Yeah, we're not putting him in behind and making him carry the ball and run. Right? He's played his role and he's done what he's been asked to do well.
I didn't say he hasn't. All I'm saying is I don't think I realized the amount of pace that he lacks. Is that a better way to phrase it, Michael?
I still don't know if I agree. I just don't. I don't think he's a slow player. I think he times his runs well, and there's nothing on the pitch when I watch that makes me think that he's got a pace issue. I don't think so.
Maybe it was because it was late in the game, but I watched him pick up the ball and there was zero change of pace and there was zero just sort of giddy up in his step. I think it was around the 65th or 70th minute, or maybe even a little bit earlier than that. And I was like, I was like,
with the ball is fairly different. I don't think he's a ball carrier, and we saw
No,
that from literally
not
his debut.
Yeah, not one of those guys who's quicker with the ball than they are without. Definitely,
No.
Definitely not.
Definitely not. Now, JP in the chat said apparently we will see Ange's style midweek. So there was an interesting post-game press conference involving Ange where they basically asked him, how long is it going to take you to implement your philosophy, your style on Nottingham Forest? And he basically, is it going to take weeks or months? He's like, mate, it's going to be Wednesday. You're going to see it on Wednesday. Well, that is interesting because you certainly didn't see any of that this weekend. Like, I know it was against Arsenal, one of the title contenders and a very good team. So perhaps I don't know what his thought process was. It seems like he just sort of let them go out and play the style that they had been playing, and sort of now he will try to impart his philosophy, whatever that may be. But I don't know. I still, this game clearly didn't change my thought process on the match between Ange and Nottingham Forest being just, it doesn't make any sense to me. But
that's an impossible task week one of being in charge.
Literally. Of course, but it's just if he really is going to implement his style, his philosophy on this team starting Wednesday in Champions League.
I was saying the same thing about Spurs a year ago. You were like, no, he's the guy. I still trust him, blah, 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 blah.
Well, he did. I think he did pretty well his first year.
I mean,
I think he did okay.
By the way,
he also had a whole, summer to work with guys and all that. He's like coming in and like, this just seems a terrible.
Where's our girl Peaches? Do you think Peaches would be okay with a Europa League win and finishing 17th in the Premier League?
No, Peaches has higher standards than that.
Forest
fans surely would sign up for a European.
I feel like Peaches would take it.
Yeah.
Listen. I enjoyed the hell out of it. It's pretty good. You guys should win a European trophy. It feels nice. All right. Last thing, Gyökeres is definitely slow, but if you're not asking him to constantly make runs in behind, then it doesn't matter too much. That's actually a good point. Any other games from the weekend? We had Brentford-Chelsea, which somebody may have touched on briefly.
Heartbreak for Leeds. Oh,
yes. An own goal, no less. That was rough. Aston Villa, the big question, were they going to score a goal, the first goal of the season? Answer, no. They are not. So Unai, does Unai make it out of this? Does he survive?
No. Mm-mm. It'll go Graham Potter, Amorim, Unai. In that
all
order.
Before Christmas?
All before Christmas.
That's a lot of golden parachute payments.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, so we'll move on from the. Wait, I actually have to say this because Connor gave Tottenham a compliment. Spurs are good. West Ham are not very good. Connor, you are
elite logic, Connor. Thank you for that.
You nailed that one. Who is hitting the panic button the hardest right now? Manchester United, who we've talked about their travails ad nauseum. Aston Villa, who has scored 0 goals so far in the Premier League. West Ham, who are, I believe, in second to last place at the moment. Nope. They're ahead of Aston Villa, so they have 3 points. So they're 1 point ahead of Aston Villa. But West Ham, obviously, they just got trounced by Tottenham. Looked like just dog shit. They've looked like dog shit every game of the season except for the Forest game where they came out with 3 goals in the last 5 minutes. But they're still in the relegation zone. Or Wolves, who are 20th place, 0 points at the moment, or Nottingham Forest. So that's a lot of teams right there that could potentially be hitting the panic button. United, Villa, West Ham, Wolves, Forest. Mikey, who's slamming the panic button hardest right now?
It's got to be Aston Villa. It's 7th in the Premier League, 7th in the league in wage budget currently. I've been on this for a while. They need European football to justify the wages they're paying. This season certainly looks like that's not going to happen at this pace, and they don't have anything really to show for it. I think Ollie Watkins is a shell of what he was 2 years ago. I don't know if Emery took that confidence out of him, but he doesn't look like he's combining. This is a guy who had 25 goal involvements in a season, 22 goals, something like that. Unbelievable player, not in this system. And I've been saying this for a couple of months. I mean, at the end of last season, those last 5 or 6 Villa matches, you watch them and they are just so static and so boring and build up, lacking imagination. And Emery tries to drill this disciplined system into them that just helps them stay defensively solid. They've got nothing going on up top at all. No movement. At this rate, with that wage, you're hitting the panic button.
We got to get John Duran back.
He certainly doesn't look like a good player anymore either.
Shocking.
Tyler, who of those you think are slamming the panic button artist?
I mean, I think if you're looking at it from all aspects, I think Mikey makes a lot of sense. Just for variety's sake, I'll say Wolves. No points, -7 goal differential, tied for worst in the Premier League at the moment, and a team that, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years has been lauded for developing young talent, being a group that can fight for the middle of the table and maybe even challenge for, what was or what could have been Conference League and Europa League, and they have, become bottom feeders, and they look like a terrible team. I should have thrown Vitor Pereira. I'll sandwich him in between Graham Potter and Ruben Amorim in my list of sacks. But yeah, no, I think Wolves are certainly hitting it hard right now.
I think that's fair, and it's almost like Wolves fans have the most reason to be just sort of disillusioned or pissed off just by the way that their talent has been kind of sucked out, sold away, and hasn't really been replaced. We've seen teams, Southampton being a good example, just years upon years of their talent being sucked away. It is hard to do that long term. Southampton couldn't do it. Brighton has done it fairly well, but they are now in 13th place, which is a little low for them. But yeah, Wolves, I watched that game against Newcastle. They had nothing. They just didn't bring anything to the table. If I was a Wolves fan right now, I'd just be pissed off.
They're probably the worst team in the league, and I don't think it's even close.
At the moment,
I wonder. I don't know anything about Wolves just because it's just not. It doesn't come across my desk. I don't get athletic updates about articles written about Wolverhampton Wanderers. But I'm just curious as to what that scouting department looks like, what the sporting director looks like, and how the front office potentially has turned over the past couple of years. Because when you think about the players that they've brought in, it's like you said, Sam, it's a Brighton, Southampton level of recruitment. But what those clubs have always done really well in the past, or at least Brighton has, is preparing for the next wave and knowing that X player is going to get sold in this window. And so we're already going to have the replacement lined up from the Brazilian second division or from the Portuguese second division, knowing that 12 months out, and we'll have him ready to go and be the replacement, and the cycle continues. And it just feels like the cycle has stopped over the past 18 to 24 months of them being able to proactively bring players in, which is a death sentence for clubs like that. Because if you're not refilling the players that you're inevitably going to sell, then you're just going to end up with a dog shit roster. And that's what we see.
Well, I wonder, I don't know if this is true or not, but, Southampton was lauded for their development, right? Their academy was producing serious talent. I know they were also bringing in guys and turning them around quickly. Brighton, I think it's their scouting department. So, that actually allows them to be far more, fast on their feet and flexible. And they can sell all these guys, et cetera, and just, boom, plug and play. They've got probably lists. They've probably got lists on computers that there was the old school St. Louis Cardinals got into the Houston Astros scouting department and basically just stole all the shit. Brighton's, whoever could get into Brighton's computers, that's where the money can be made there. Brian in the chat said Wolves need to get back to basics, sign 6 Portuguese players to stay the season. You're not wrong. Yep. You are not wrong at all on that. That's exactly what they need to do. But I'll ask you, Mitch, since I haven't, who's hitting the panic button the hardest?
2 or 3 GOAWs for Wolves will do the trick. Just for difference sake, we'll talk about United for a lot of the reasons that we already mentioned earlier in the program, but based on summer spend and what the expectations were going into this season and how it was framed and how he finally got his guys in and now he's going to implement his system, they absolutely have to be hitting the panic button more than anybody else. Look at the next like 3 or 4 weeks for them. They've got Chelsea, they've got Brentford, they've got Sunderland and Liverpool, I believe. How many points do they get from that if Amorim stays? And if he goes, maybe it's the same, but I don't see any type of system that we've heard so much about from Amorim. I don't think he has the players that he wants, and the ones that are performing for him, I don't think there's enough of them. So I really don't have high hopes for United this season, even based on what they did last season, but they're looking at a mid-table finish. I've talked to United fans that say realistically we're fighting for Europa League, and I'm like, I just don't think that's the case. I hate to burst that balloon, but that's not what's going to happen.
I think I saw supercomputer odds that had them finishing in the bottom half.
Doesn't take a supercomputer to figure that.
Yeah, I'll tell you that for free.
Yeah, fair enough. All right. We will move on, unless there's something in the chat that I missed. I'll go through it real quick. Brighton.
I want to call something out in the chat.
Yeah.
At one point, we just had 12 concurrent live viewers, which, to my knowledge, is a record for us. So, snaps in the chat. I appreciate everybody that shows up and watches this live stream.
Why did you have to do that? Why couldn't you have said it was 77 or a higher number than 12? You just
because
totally
we're all about honesty and integrity on this program.
Yeah, for sure. Between Mikey's reverse jinxes and Sam's delusion with Ange for the past 24 months, and we're all about honesty and telling ourselves the truth. Absolutely.
And I could probably name those 12 people by name, and they'd feel super special. So
yes, Adam F, Steve, Brian, Peaches. Yeah, no, it's our crew.
We do. We're missing Peaches. We need Peaches back.
Yeah.
All right. We'll hit the FPL segment real quick. Give some shout outs to the peoples who did well. By the way, as I'm pulling this up, I have an announcement to make that I got a very beautiful invitation card. I'll try and cover the actual stuff here. A very beautiful invitation card to what will be certain to be a beautiful wedding of Mr. Tyler Terrence. I am officially boycotting RSVPing until the people get their dance. The people need their TikTok dance.
What about your TikTok dance?
That's a different matter. That's a separate matter. It's totally different.
I'm not actually registering you as RSVP, even if you do, until you get your TikTok dance in. All right.
Okay, that's actually fair. But people need their TikTok dance, and they need it. They need it soon. All right, I will give some shout outs here to the top of the Sam's Army Podcast League. Franken Spurs Cooper Lyon is in first place with 291. Bowen Family FC, Robbie Bowen, second. My full-grown son, Chris Shaver, is in third. King Dax, that's his name as well. You're in fourth, and Blizz Nasty, John Hanks, is in fifth. Also, quick shout-out to my guy, Tomas Roa, a longtime friend of mine who somehow is in 13th place. Well done, sir.
Why don't you give some other notable shout-outs from amazing performances this week?
Mikey put up a number.
Well, we haven't got there yet. We haven't got to the Council of Elders. You'll get your little shout out.
Quite possibly it was in the top 50,000 overall for this week.
Hold on. We'll get there.
More impressive, 12 viewers on the live stream or Mikey's 93?
Easily 12 viewers.
Yeah,
absolutely 12 viewers.
Sam's Army Discord Sickos League, which is just open to the Patreon Sickos on Discord. Easy breezy. Andrew Brzezinski is in first. Kudos, he thinks he is. Carter Brock is in second.
Love that name.
Works so good. Dalton Kemper, everybody knows Dalton. He's in third. Now to the Council of Elders, which Tyler Terrence's punishment for finishing last year is the TikTok dance. We'll get to that eventually. Mikey Fowler, 94 points. Last week. 94. Did you use one of your little?
No, he did not. This is clean.
Wow.
I was Mikey. I was really, really impressed when I saw that.
I was fired up. I didn't know what happened. I was at a bachelor party, but I was fired up when I realized.
So Cruel Summer has moved into first place in the Council of Elders. Everybody else has gone down except for me. I was in last. I'm still in last. Ghost of Darwin, Tyler Terrens is in second. Don't call it a comeback. Quite a bounce back from last year. McGunners is in third. Isak at FPL is in fourth. 1 point. 1 point, Mitch. I'm coming for you. Ahead of me in last. I'm on that ass.
It's a long way to go. Right. I'm not celebrating anything.
We got a long way.
Long season. Long
way to go. Weekend preview. There are some interesting games coming up this weekend. Sunday, the highest profile of the bunch. Well, I don't know if I can say that, but Arsenal and City on Sunday. Merseyside Daerby, also high profile. Saturday at the butt crack of dawn. United hosting Chelsea. Some other notable games. Sunderland hosting Villa, which is interesting because Aston Villa hasn't scored zero goals so far. Bournemouth Newcastle, kind of a low-key banger. And Wolves Leeds. That kind of feels do or die for Wolves. So, Mitch, what game are you most interested in this weekend?
It is Arsenal City, both coming off of 3-0 wins. Both look really good. This has been a clash that we've loved and we've really gotten up for in the past 2 or 3 seasons. And I think it'll set the tone for the rest of the year. This is not the same City team that we've seen. Well, it is the same City team that we saw last year in terms of form, but I just don't think that they have the sauce. I think that they're missing something, and I think we have that sauce this year. That's the only tactical insight I have to this game. I just we look so saucy and so fun. We'll concede. They're going to score. No Saka, no Saliba, and I think that is going to play a big role. But I've loved what I've seen from Gabriel. Mosquera is kind of looking a little more comfortable this weekend than he did last weekend, and I mean our midfield is just rolling. Mosquera, Mosquera. He's adventurous with the ball. He was a little too adventurous when he came on for Saliba after he got hurt, but he seems really comfortable on it, as most Brazilians are, and I love he can make some line breaking passes that I'm like, wow, I didn't know he had that in his locker. So I'm really excited for this weekend.
Now, I agree you guys are just a better team than City this year. You are missing Saliba. You're missing Saka. Are you missing Odegaard as well?
I believe so, yeah.
So that is – you guys are –
Odegaard,
actually, I know City's missing a ton of guys too, I should say. But yes,
Dare I say that Odegaard being injured actually, I'm not going to say it's a better thing for Arsenal in the long run, but especially with Eze getting his feet wet at a new club, I think it honestly might be the best thing for Arsenal at the moment, for Eze to be the guy and to get his confidence.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think Odegaard has been a little stale over the end of last season and beginning of this one. I thought he was going to hit the ground running and be a little more proactive, but still hasn't found his shooting boots. And we wish him, the best, and we want him to come back sooner rather than later. But the reason that we looked so sharp is because everybody in that game against who I'm talking about against Forest, everybody in that game was responsible for making something happen. It wasn't just running through number 8 and everybody was running off of him. I think Ethan did a good job when he came in, but I don't disagree with you that this is probably a blessing in disguise.
By the way, Brian in the chat, a bona fide Manchester City fan, I'm not excited about our defense. Very good point. And finally willing to admit, I think Arsenal is better than us. Big man to admit that, Brian.
It's a tough thing to admit on a Monday evening. It's a tough thing to admit.
I mean, Man City's been so good for so long. I don't really understand what that feels like, but
Can we just also not forget that Arsenal are only 1 game removed from putting on that absolute disgrace of a performance against Liverpool, and beat a relegation fodder side in Manchester United? I get they had they had a great game against Forest. Sorry, I'm thinking about City, and Forest are literally in this limbo with Ange right now. I understand Arsenal's got a lot of talent, but let's pump the brakes a little bit before we start this love fest, okay? Because whatever sauce Mitch is talking about, they didn't have.
Wait, I thought it didn't matter. I thought we got points, and I'm tired of this narrative of what we look like on the field and how late or early we win games.
You've lost the game, and it's looked ugly. Liverpool's actually tried to play, and other teams have actually tried to play against them. You guys were the only one who hasn't so far outside. You and Burnley fall into the same category. You guys tried to play as much as Burnley, okay? Don't give me that look, because it basically was the same thing. Now,
what exactly did Liverpool do in the first half of that game? Period.
Liverpool were trying to play. It didn't necessarily come off, but Arsenal had one thing in mind, and that was to kick the ever living shit out of Liverpool, the same way that Newcastle tried to do. Like there was no for Arsenal and for Mikel Arteta and this beacon of light that's supposedly supposed to exist within the Premier League looked like a Sunday League side just trying to get the better of a group that they knew was more talented than them in a place that haunts Mikel Arteta's dreams and nightmares and everything in between. Haunts them.
A Sunday League side.
His children probably are afraid to go to Anfield. His father has told them stories about how he's come out of a shell of a man. All right,
but is that not the mark of a successful and smart manager, to play the game ahead of them and not be so bold or be so like stubborn that you can't adapt?
Burnley.
Is that? Oh, that's us and Burnley.
That's a Burnley.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, you at least throw Wolves in there because they played the same exact thing against Newcastle that Burnley played against Liverpool. Just absolute terrorist ball. Mikey, what game this weekend are you looking at?
Man, it's obviously that one, but I can give you another one just for the sake of argument here. I think I'm really. I mean, I'm obviously interested in Wolves Leeds just because I want to know which one of them is going down. This could already be a loser leaves town match, but no. In the other realm, it's got to be if Aston Villa can score. If they pull the rare team 007, then we're really talking historic. There's a real chance of that going on. So I'm going to be in on this as long as we can. I'm all in here. I want to watch Sunderland Villa. It'll be on the TV. A nice appetizer.
Okay, I love that for you.
Sunderland are staying up, dude. Picked up a big point against Palace this weekend. We didn't mention that, dude. Every week they find a reason to make me think they're staying up.
I agree.
I want one more. I want carnage. I want one more team from the relegated to stay up, and then I want to see if it's either going to be West Ham or Manchester United. Speaking of, Sam, I'm going to transition to myself, and I'm going to be fixated on the Manchester United and Chelsea game because if you're looking at this, okay, if you're looking at this from the Manchester United board's perspective, okay, and take out whatever you want about whether or not Ruben Amorim wants to get fired or not wants to get fired, whatever, just all things being equal, you're taking a look at Chelsea. And you're saying we should be battling with Chelsea for the 4th and 5th spot within the Premier League table. We should be right there. That's where we should exist. Liverpool, City, Arsenal, we're not there yet, but we should at least be existing in the same realm as Chelsea. If you get your doors blown off at home, bye Ruben. Has to be, because he continues to be so staunch and so stubborn and so stuck in his ways on this dumbass system. And he was asked about it again after the game, and he's going to be asked about it every single time, the same way Ange was asked about it until he eventually started to change. And then, oh my God, he won a trophy. But for him to be that stubborn and basically say, I'm the boss, I'm in charge, I'm not changing anything until I want to change it. Stop asking me, And then you get your shit kicked in by Chelsea at home after you just got wrecked by Manchester City. You shouldn't have a job anymore. You should not. Because that's the standard. And that's why you spent over $250 million during the summer, so that players could fit this broken system of yours that you did kind of well with Sporting. And now all of a sudden you are God's gift to the game to be able to walk into a club like Manchester United and say, give me a king's ransom so I can build this shitty ass boat that's going to sink when we get 300 yards from shore. I've had enough. And I will be watching that game, and it will be the game that we take a look at, and it's going to be the reason why Ruben Amorim gets fired, because they should be competing with Chelsea, and they're nowhere near the same universe as Chelsea at this point in time.
Fair enough. You'll be hate watching United and Chelsea. Well, I will be watching Bournemouth and Newcastle. So those are two teams who we didn't mention during the recap. Bournemouth deserves a mention. They are in 4th place right now. This team, I know that if Tommy was here, he'd be doing soccer nerding out on them at this point and beating Brighton last weekend. They're a very good team and they're fun to watch. Newcastle, on the other hand, I don't really know what to expect from them. They looked okay against Wolves this past weekend. They scored a goal. Voltemada, if that's how you pronounce it, scored it, got off on the score sheet in his debut. Like to see that.
Told you that was
I don't know what to expect from Newcastle at this point, but that game against Bournemouth should be a lot of fun. So that's a game that I'm watching for sure. We'll leave it there. We'll move to halftime. Now, before I hit you guys with the pop quiz, it is time to get a word from our friends over at Kick It, the one-stop shop for all your soccer tennis needs. Tyler, he's back in action this week. I think Mitch gave you a run for your money last week on the promo. But your turn. What do the people need to know about Kick It?
If you don't know the drill by now, what are you doing? What are you paying attention to? Or maybe you're skipping over it. Don't. Code SAM25, kickit.net, basic soccer tennis set. You're welcome. Get it now while there's still a little bit of sunshine, while there's still a little bit of hope in this life and this darkness that is slowly but surely creeping upon us, particularly for those of us who live in the Midwest. So code SAM25, get your Kick It today, tomorrow, 5 to 7 business days. I don't know. That's it. That's all I got.
Kickit.net, SAM25. There you go. All right. Pop quiz. So in lieu of a hypothetical, we have a quiz for you boys. And so you work together to figure this out. Give me the top, and also hands up. Nobody's Googling. Give me the top 5 favorites to win in order MLS Cup 2025. I'll give you a hint. Number 1 and number 2 are actually co-favorites. So they're the same. So they got 2 and then 3 more after them. Who you guys got in order?
I think it's got to be Philly and San Diego.
Miami.
No.
Miami's been dog shit.
Community Shield or
MLS Cup. MLS Cup.
Supporter Shield.
Supporter Shield. Yeah.
Not Supporter Shield.
No, but I'm just saying Philly and San Diego right now are 1-1 in the West and East.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm thinking for
Vancouver. I think Philly won.
No, but there's tied. But what he's saying is that the number 1, the favorites are tied.
Oh yeah. 1 and 2. Okay. Philly, San Diego, Vancouver. Tyler, you're gonna have to carry this one.
I know. Well, I'm saying Philly. I'm saying Philly and San Diego tied for first. Sam.
False.
It's Miami and somebody.
No.
It's Miami and somebody.
No, it's not.
Oh, yeah.
Mikey. Oh, Mikey looking all smug down there. Miami is one of the co-favorites. Right.
Miami and Philly.
Nope.
Miami and Cincy.
Yeah.
Nope.
Miami and San Diego.
Yep. Mikey, Jesus. Did you Google this?
No.
Well, I also
thoroughly looking up the top 5
I also
pages in
guessed
front.
incorrect on like 4 out of the possible 5s. He's not
So Miami and San Diego are the 2 co-favorites right now. Give me the next 3.
LAFC, Vancouver, Cincinnati. That would have been sick.
That would have been sick.
It's not right,
Oh.
but you got a lot of the teams in, some semblance of order.
Philly, LAFC, Seattle, Cincy.
No. Okay, so here it is. Vancouver is 3rd right now.
Honestly,
Philly is 4th. Cincinnati is 5th.
Honestly, I would put a king's ransom on Vancouver to win MLS Cup because Ryan Gauld just finally trained today, full contact, and if he comes back with Mueller and Bryant, I think it's over. I think it's over.
They've looked incredible without him. Yeah. So after that, 6th, 7th, and 8th, I can't believe Seattle is just low, but 6th is LAFC, Minnesota United, your Loons, Tyler, are 7th, and then Seattle is 8th. I'm surprised Seattle's that low. Okay, round the world. MLS Hit-It-N-Quit-it Minute with the Minute Man himself, Tyler Terrence. Give us what we missed this weekend.
Listen, if you didn't tune into MLS this weekend, I feel sorry for you because we had tied for the most amount of goals in a single match day in Major League Soccer history. There were 57 goals in a single match day. So let's start with those goals, and let's start north of the border with one of the teams who's consistently giving up a lot of goals and is one of the most disappointing franchises in the league. CF Montreal, and Joey Saputo, I'm talking about you. St. Louis City 2, Montreal 0 in a game that has 0 playoff implications whatsoever. All right, let's go over to the Queen City, not the one here in Cincinnati, but the one in Charlotte, Mikey's favorite city. And it's Charlotte who come away with their 9th consecutive victory. You heard that correctly. They've won 9 games in a row, basically since they sold Patrick Agiamont to Daerby County. Dean Smith is absolutely cooking, and he did it up in the suites during this game because he was suspended due to yellow card accumulation. Messi misses a Panenka. Inter Miami get a red card. Tomas Aviles is just a walking red card at this point in time. Idan Toklamadi, the replacement, the Israeli, the 21-year-old for Patrick Ajimang, who was the backup and had been playing there all this year, scores a hat trick. And Charlotte come away with a 3-0 win for their 9th consecutive win. DC and Orlando City, 1-1 between those two sides. Nobody really cares about that game. Let's go over to the Benz in Atlanta. Excuse me. Where Atlanta United trailed this game by a score of 5-0, the most dangerous lead in soccer, as we all know. And Atlanta somehow, some way, after going down 5-0, pulled 4 goals back in the 88th by the 88th minute. Jamal Chiare had the final goal, and the crew were scrambling to finish this game out and to come away with 3 points out of Mercedes-Benz Stadium. But somehow they do it. But they do come away with a huge injury, as Diego Rossi is going to miss the next 3 to 4 weeks. That's coming out of the Columbus crew camp. So bad look for the crew, but perhaps Wessam Abu Ali is going to step up and really take the reins on this group. Meanwhile, New England and Toronto, ultimately the game that sees Caleb Porter sacked 1-1 in a game between two teams that nobody cares about whatsoever, but they only care about the fact that Caleb Porter has been sacked. All right, let's head over to Cincinnati and down the road here in Loveland, of course, at TQL Stadium on the west end of Cincy. Cincy and Nashville, a battle of two sides at the top of the Eastern Conference, and Evander in the 98th minute finishes off what was a beautiful team move for FC Cincinnati and a huge proof of concept game. A lot of people have been talking about Pat Noonan and FC. Kevin Denke gets benched for this game. That's the same Kevin Denke that they paid $16 million for. He gets the bench. Jabari and Brenner started up top. Evander scores the game-winning goal, sent TQL into Raptures. Massive win and a big disappointment for BJ Callahan's group that is starting on the downtrend here towards the end of the season. Meanwhile, California Clasico between San Jose and LAFC. That was the game I was on the call for. More than 50,000, a club record for San Jose at the home of the San Francisco 49ers. But it was LAFC who absolutely jumped all over Bruce Arena's Quakes in the opening 12 minutes. It was 3 goals in the opening 12. Sun scored inside of the first 60 seconds. Then Bouanga, not once, not twice, but 3 times, and slammed the door shut late in the game. Bouanga comes away with a hat trick. LAFC, a huge 4-2 win over San Jose, who are sliding closer and closer into being out of the playoff picture, I should say. FC Dallas 2, Austin 0, Seattle and LA Galaxy. Galaxy for a second straight week pull out a huge late goal that really spoils the party for both the Houston Dynamo last week and now the Seattle Sounders this time. So Seattle kind of are hovering around that area where they could potentially be jumped by LAFC in the Western Conference table. Meanwhile, the Chicago Fire, I don't know why. I don't. The Schadenfreude with me in this club is really, really bad. But there's something about the Chicago and when the games really start to matter against clubs that they're fighting with playoff spots for. They lose at home to New York City FC by a score of 3-1, and they are legitimately in trouble of potentially qualifying for the postseason and would miss out for an 8th straight year, which is unheard of in MLS. But anyway, there's still 4 games left, and potentially they might be able to do it. Colorado 2, Houston 1 in a big game towards the bottom of the Western Conference table as far as the playoff picture is concerned. RSL 2, Sporting Kansas City 1. And then the big game that everybody was talking about, 2 teams towards the top of their respective conferences. Vancouver 7. They scored a touchdown plus the extra point over the Philadelphia Union in what was supposed to be this great game and great advertisement for MLS. And it just ends up being Thomas Muller show as he registers a hat trick and an assist and gets player of the match day. Portland Timbers 2, Red Bulls 1. That puts a little bit of a sting in the Red Bulls playoff hopes, but that's a great result if you're the Chicago Fire, considering you can't get your own. And then another big game towards the top of the Western Conference table. San Diego lose 3-1 at home, and that was a favor returned to San Diego as San Diego had come into Allianz Stadium about a month and a half ago and beaten the Loons at home, and Minnesota returned the favor at Snapdragon Stadium. And then we are going to have a makeup game between Inter Miami and Seattle tomorrow. That's going to be played on Tuesday. This is all part of Inter Miami playing their 3 games in hand that they have. I'll be on the call for one down in Miami in a week's time against Chicago, but or 2 weeks time, I should say. But Inter Miami and Seattle in a big game for both sides as far as the playoff picture is concerned. And that would do it for a wild match day 33.
All right, well done. And by the way, anybody who is wondering, the U.S. Open Cup semifinals are this week, starting Tuesday, Nashville hosting Philly, and then Wednesday, Tyler's beloved Minnesota United hosting Austin FC. Quick question from the chat, though, for you, Tyler, from Elliot. I root for Montreal. Why would I tune into the MLS?
Well, Elliot, as I'm sure you saw, you did get that nice little letter, the nice stationery digitally, that is, from CF Montreal saying that they're entering a new phase and a new era of CF Montreal, and they're committed to winning. I don't know what that looks like because a few weeks later you sold your best defender, Joel Waterman. So, Elliot, I feel your pain, man. I think that when I look at Montreal and DC in particular, those are two clubs that I sort of take a look at, and I'm like, something drastically needs to change within ownership, because there's a clear difference between those two clubs and everyone else. I think you should tune into MLS because, number one, it's usually a proud member of the Overtrain that Sam is cooking up every single day, and it's just an exciting league just in terms of goals scored, and the quality is higher than a lot of people think, as I'm sure you know. But in terms of like actually being a fan, make your voice heard. Like that, it's not good enough, because there are clubs that are spending tens of millions of dollars now in transfer windows, and you guys have not spent any money on a DP since 2020. So you just got to demand better from your club, because it's just obviously not good enough from Joey Saputo and company.
Fair shout. I think I've said this before, but Montreal fans, I was so impressed the few times I've been to Montreal in the last couple of years. They are so into it. And I love that. So they deserve much, much better than what they're getting. All right. We will move to the other part of Around the World, Champions League. So Champions League group stage is starting up again this week. And remember, we're doing this wild, crazy, cockamamie, schedule where nobody's in groups. Everybody's playing God knows where and God knows when. In fact, Champions League games are on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday now, by the way, as well. So I just thought that was an interesting side note. But of this first match week of games, I'll throw it to you, Mikey. What's one game that's absolutely must watch?
You know my thoughts about that. Well, the first thing everyone should know is that there's full slates even through Thursday, which is great. I don't know if I knew that change was happening.
Not either.
So that's something that everybody needs to pay attention to. We were just talking about this a minute ago. PSG Atalanta for me is just interesting for one reason, and that's Ademola Lookman. We were just talking before we started recording that he's been left out of the squad. I want to see them get smoked. I don't like when managers make themselves that relevant.
What if he's being a bad apple though, and what if he's causing problems?
Then sell him.
Too late for that.
Sell him right now.
They could have. They've had plenty of opportunity to get rid of him.
He had suitors this summer. Yeah.
I mean, he's trying to leave. Yeah.
So I want to see them get absolutely boat raced. I want 6-0 PSG. I don't like when good players are put in the back burner and we get to miss time watching them play the sport. Fuck that. PSG.
All right. Okay. That's a hate watch.
Also, Luis Enrique should be suspended for this, right?
Because of why?
He punched a player after the Club World Cup. Is that not UEFA?
Come on. People are doing that left and right these days. Bro.
If that was anybody else, a good guy Luis Enrique gets away with that, but I still think it's crazy.
You know who else would get Son would get away with it too. Great guy.
He would.
Great guy.
And he'd smile the entire time, and people would love it.
Sure would.
He's nice. He's a nice enough guy. He deserves it. All right, Mitch. What game is must watch from this week? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Champions League group stage openers.
Just a juicy 3-day stretch of a slate too. I have been off the books for a while, but it feels like it's time to get back on. It's the Kevin De Bruyne derby on Thursday. It's City Napoli. That one's going to be fun, and it's a little window into my best bets as well. But I'm curious to see what the reception is going to be like. Napoli have a crazy identity now with De Bruyne, with McTominay. They're a fun team, and I think they could give City some trouble. So I'll definitely be watching that one.
Okay, good shout. Tyler, must-watch game this week?
I think Newcastle-Barcelona is going to be fun. But really, seriously, that nobody's mentioned Liverpool-Atletico Madrid is kind of insane. But, whatever.
Kind of leaving that one for you.
We'll give that one. Also, Tottenham and Thomas Partey's Villarreal should be.
That's gross. That's a Europa League coded game. There's no reason either of those two teams should be in a Champions League fixture. No. Spiritually, that's a Europa League game.
European champions, Tottenham Hotspur. You're talking about right there. I will say a game that I think is going to be a lot of fun is Juve and Dortmund on Tuesday. I think there should be a lot of goals in that one. That would be part of my best bets, but it's on Tuesday, so it doesn't fit into my Wednesday through Sunday. All right, we'll leave it there. And actually, we will transition directly to stoppage time, where we start out with the overtrain, because it's Ivan Toney's best bets. And the overtrain, by the way, we had 3 bad weeks in a row. That was an anomaly. I can't remember that ever happening before. And we bounced back strong with a 4-1 week last week. So we feel good going into this week. And remember, overtrain 5-a-side, 1 a day. These games are all going over Wednesday through Sunday. We're going to start on Wednesday with Ajax and Inter in the Champions League. Thursday, we're going to the Finnish 3rd Division, where Tampere United is hosting everybody's favorite OLS. I'd love to know what that stands for, but I have no idea, and I couldn't pronounce it anyway. Friday, we are going to the Polish 1st Division, where Katowice is hosting Cracovia. Saturday, we're going to the Austrian 2nd Division. Austria Salzburg is hosting St. Pölten. And finally, probably my favorite game of the week on Sunday, from everybody's favorite Moldovan Super League, Zimbru is hosting FC Sheriff. Whew, I feel good about these games. We're going to stay hot on Ivan Toney's best bet overtrain. Now, Mitchell, what do you got for us best bet wise?
Do love the Moldovan Super League.
Everybody
I was
does.
called out in the Discord for how bad my picks were last week. I went 1 for 3. And I, rightfully so too. I shouldn't be giving you guys my quote unquote best bets if I'm going to go 1 for 3. That's not okay. So I want to apologize formally and say that I'm going to be better from here on out. Now, being the case, I'm going to go away from the Premier League and go to the Champions League. We're going to go Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Tuesday, it's Spurs Villarreal, which again, not really a Champions League fixture, but technically in that category, that's over 2.5. Next day, Wednesday, Inter Milan money line against Ajax. Ajax, I mean, they used to be my stallion. And in last year and now this year, they have just fallen from my good betting graces. And then on Thursday, we have that Kevin De Bruyne derby. I like both teams to score in City Napoli. Put them all together, you're at plus 435.
Ooh, I like that. I like it. I like all 3 of those picks.
Yeah.
I'm going with the over officially on Inter Ajax, but I like your pick. Okay, Mikey, Ivan Toney's best bet.
Yeah, I'm also doing a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but we're going big guns. None of this 3rd division shit. Kylian Mbappe is going to score against Marseille. Minus 165 is a great number. We're looking value here. Wednesday, Harry Kane against Chelsea is only minus 120 to score. Those two are. You're never going to see Harry Kane that low. And then Thursday, sticking with the big guys, I have Christos Zolis 2 shots on target against Monaco. These are if you know me, you know that I love my Zolis shots on target ever since he cashed in the first 10 minutes of that one match that one time. That's plus 280. That's the real anchor. And that way you can get to Thursday with the 2 out of 3 ticket. Put those together 10-1.
Okay.
Nice.
All right. Tyler, finish strong for us here. Ivan Toney's best bet.
Yep, I got you. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a draw between Atletico Bilbao and Arsenal, because Bilbao rested everybody over the weekend. They ended up losing to Alaves, but they've been good at the start of the season. I think Arsenal are going to run into some troubles here. So that's a draw. Ekitike to score at home against Atleti. I think that's guaranteed. And then Rafinha, 2 shots on target, and that comes out to a cozy 27-37 for a little 3-legged parlay.
That's exactly what we were looking for.
Minor shout here too, Sam. If you want some fun tomorrow afternoon, that's not Champions League. Grimsby plays again.
Oh, okay. Everybody's favorite giant killer there, Grimsby Town. Good shout. What is that, like the EFL Cup? What competition are they?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now we will put a cherry on this episode with everybody's favorite segment, GOAWs. Tyler, looks like you want to go first. Hit us with it.
I would like to give a big shout out to one of our own, Mitchell Goulet, for dunking for the first time since he tore his ACL. I know it's been a huge thing that he's been chasing after, and it also has been the differentiator between whether or not he drinks. And I'm glad that he was able to dunk before my wedding, so now he can cut loose and cut up a rug in Cincinnati.
Hell
That's
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Good shout. Good shout. Are we two-handing it yet, or is we still?
Whoa, easy now. No. One foot, one hand. Always been a one-footed jumper. It was really a euphoric feeling to get up there and not just rim graze it. Like I had to throw it down. Like I actually had to properly dunk for me to count it, and it had to be with a basketball too. No soccer ball, no tennis ball bullshit. So I do appreciate the love. I was just at a wedding this weekend and drinking for the first time in a hot minute. I'm not really match fit yet, but I think I will be
Boy, was
by the time Tyler's wedding
served.
rolls around. Yeah.
All right. Well, you can follow that up. Who's your goal?
Yep. I got two. I got an honorable mention in Diego Luna. He, in an interview, came out recently and just kind of talked about his mental health and what therapy has done for him and how it helped him so much on and off the field, that he was in kind of bad headspace earlier in his career a couple of years ago, and being in therapy allowed him to now be the player he is today, which, he's a dog on the field. He's so much confident. He's so much more confident than when he was really down on himself. And I think that is a phenomenal message to be sending to players young and old, that like, if your head's not right, your feet aren't going to do what you want them to do. And Diego Luna is a prime example of that. I think he's going to be a really important player for our World Cup cycle. And I hope, he's able to get his flowers on the national level come next summer, because I think he's a really special player. And maybe he's poised for a big move to Europe. Who knows? That's my honorable mention. The real GOA also has to do with a wedding. It is friend of the program, Noah Khan. So I don't do this. And I told the bride and groom I wouldn't do this, but I was involved in a wedding this past weekend, and the bride is a massive Noah Khan fan, so much so that her bachelorette party theme was Noah Longer Single. And I had, like I said, had a couple after the ceremony, and I said, you know what? I think I'm going to message Noah. And I told them I would not do this because it's kind of a professional relationship, and I don't ask favors of many people because that's just not the kind of person and content creator I am. But I messaged Noah and I told him the story, and within 10 minutes, he said, brother, that is awesome. Let me send a video. So he sent a video to the newlyweds, and they're bawling their eyes out. And it just made their day that much more special. So, I mean, it's really cool that we had Noah Khan on so many years ago. And the dude just loves the beautiful game. He loves Chelsea. And so for his sake, I hope Chelsea are going to pick it up this season. But just an absolute beauty of a human. So shout out Noah Khan. He's my GOAT this week.
Well done. Well done. Noah is the best. He's the man. And like the superstardom that he's attained in the last couple of years.
Hasn't changed him one bit.
Incredible. And well deserved, by the way. He was working his ass off for many years before that happened. Okay,
Very
Mikey,
talented.
Go. You're mute. Mute.
Sorry. Mine is as heartfelt and as sweet as that one, so I'll keep it short. I laughed really hard when Wilfred Ndidi fell on his ass in the tunnel, so I'm going to give it to him.
That's good. You just went the complete opposite direction with it. That works. That's what GOA is all about right there.
Guy slipped and fell. He hit hard. I laughed. Go up.
Listen, we're humans. That's what we love to see. We're dudes. If you get hit in the balls, I'm going to laugh my ass off. That's just happens.
Yeah.
All right. GOA-wise, I'm going to give a dishonorable mention to Millwall fans sitting in the Charlton away end for this weekend's South London Derby. So South London Derby, I think there's like 5 teams that technically are included in this, with Crystal Palace and some other teams. But Charlton and Millwall are 2 of the teams, and 2 fans, at least 2, of Millwall were sitting in the Charlton away end when Charlton scored a last gasp equalizer in the game. Now, one fan stood up and cheered, and he ended up just getting spit on, kicked, pushed, punched, and escorted out, as you will, in that type of situation. Another fan, a road fan who was in or a Millwall fan who was in the Charlton section, he ran across the field to the Millwall section to celebrate with them after the last-minute equalizer. But all the Millwall fans thought he was a Charlton fan, so they all started punching him in the face, and he had to get I don't know. It's just the stupidest situation, and it made no sense. But anyway, Millwall fans, how about maybe next time just sit in your own section? My actual GOA goes to Wilfried Zaha. So So this is a guy who, has not always taken, the easiest, most obvious, most glamorous path in life, which is something that resonates with me. And in a world where established stars only come to MLS if they can play in, New York or Miami or LA, Zaha agreed to come and be the face of Charlotte FC, which at the time was, a fledgling club in a place most Europeans probably don't know about even to today, even though it's a great place to live, great weather and everything like that. So not only did he take this path less traveled, but he showed up this season like ready to play and has been outspoken about his desire to win. Now that has rubbed, a few people the wrong way with, saying some hard truths and giving people, some bad tasting medicine. But they, being Charlotte, they just won their 9th straight game against Messi's merry band of megastars. So I'm giving my GOA to Zaha, who is, not only doing things his own way, but he's doing them pretty well as the face of the hottest team in MLS, who's now standing in 3rd place in the East. And not for nothing, they're now tied with Seattle Sounders for the longest single season win streak in MLS history with 9. Now, they do have a long ways to go to catch LA Galaxy, who won 15 in a row, but that's spanned 1997 and 1998. So as far as single season win streaks go, if Charlotte wins this weekend, I believe they play NYCFC, they will set that new record. And shout out to both Charlotte FC and Wilfried Zaha for, a hell of a season. And I love guys that come over and just play their ass off, and be real dedicated pros in MLS. So shout out to Zaha. There we go. Tyler, Mitch, Mikey, you guys are the best. Everybody in the chat, we love you. If you're not in the chat, get in the chat by getting in the Patreon right now, $3.99 a month. As Adam F. said, the best $4 you could possibly spend in your life. Everybody who's listening at home, if you're not in the Patreon, I still love you, even though you should be in the Patreon. We will see you bigger and better, maybe faster and stronger next week.